What if I told you that while 36 million tourists fell in love with Japan last year, 1.5 million Japanese people haven't left their homes in months, and foreign workers earn 30% less than locals, while paying Tokyo rent that costs more than most people's entire salary? Japan saw a record-breaking 36 million tourists last year. Videos of Tokyo nightlife, ramen reviews, and pictures of cherry blossoms are all over social media. However, what they fail to notice behind the tourist attractions and neon lights is this. Almost 1.5 million Japanese people are socially isolated. Some haven't left their rooms in years. With an average monthly salary of only 232,600 yen, foreign workers make 30% less than Japanese nationals, who make 318,300 yen. Tokyo's average rent is higher than what most foreigners earn in a month. No travel blog will tell you the unvarnished truth about living in Japan. To give you the truth behind the Instagram posts, I've spent months looking into official government statistics, economic analyses, and cultural studies. Your perspective on life in the land of the rising sun will be totally altered by what you're about to discover. The actual financial situation. Since money is where most people's dreams of relocating to Japan come true, let's start there. The Ministry of Internal Affairs and Communications in Japan reports that the average monthly expenditure for an individual is 155,912 yen, or roughly 1,071 US dollars. However, this is only the start. The cost of housing will surprise you. The average monthly rent for a studio apartment in Tokyo is 68,774 yen. However, a small one-room apartment in a posh neighborhood like Setagaya City costs 99,000 yen. For an area smaller than the majority of walk-in closets in America, that comes to almost $700. The national average falls to 41,000 yen outside of Tokyo, but you'll have a hard time finding employment there. The killer is that large upfront payments are expected in Japanese rental culture. Before you even receive the keys, you will need to pay 4 to 6 months' worth of rent in guarantor fees, security deposits, key money, and realtor commissions. Suddenly, 420,000 yen, more than $2,800, is needed up front to move into that 70,000 yen apartment. Japan's economic inconsistencies are exposed by the cost of food. The cost of groceries is 18% higher than in the US. For example, a single apple can cost $3, while premium melons can cost $50 each. But compared to America, restaurant meals are 45% less expensive. A hearty bowl of ramen costs 500 yen, but using imported ingredients to cook at home will break the bank. For foreigners, the reality of pay is harsh. Foreign workers earn only 232,600 yen per month, compared to an average of 318,300 yen for Japanese nationals. This is a discrepancy of 85,700 yen, or hundreds of dollars less per month. One of the most popular foreign occupations is teaching English, and English teachers make about 300,000 yen a month. Sounds good until you consider that a third of that money is spent on rent in Tokyo alone. The majority of foreigners make their living by avoiding imports, eating meals from convenience stores, and sharing apartments. The lifestyle you see on Instagram? Either long-term residents who have developed careers over many years or short-term visitors spending savings are responsible for that. Employment and work culture in Japan. The truth, karoshi, which translates to death from overwork, is central to Japanese workplace culture. Japan identified 883 mental health conditions linked to the workplace in 2024, including 79 workplace stress-related suicides. Even though the legal limit for overtime is 45 hours per month, many people routinely put in 80 to 100 hours. Unpaid extra labor or service overtime is expected. Leaving before coworkers shows that you're not committed. According to one survey, 10% of employees work more than 80 hours of overtime each month. Your career success is determined by 3 cultural concepts. Prior to meetings, Nihamawashi works behind the scenes to reach consensus. Actual decisions are made over drinks rather than in boardrooms. Days become months under the ringi system, since every decision needs several approvals. Nomikai after-work socializing is mandatory. Refusing alcohol destroys careers. The previously mentioned salary difference between Japanese nationals and foreign workers is 318,300 yen versus 232,600 yen. Although English teachers make an average of 300,000 yen per month, traditional companies have glass ceilings on career advancement. The 2018 Work Style Reform Act instituted Premium Friday, which is a monthly departure at 3 p.m., and limited overtime. However, only 8% of businesses switched to 4-day work weeks. Legal reforms are not as effective as the cultural pressure to overwork. The hidden social crisis in Japanese culture. Understanding the cultural ideas that influence every social interaction is essential to comprehending Japan's most profound problems. Wa, which means harmony, values unity within the group over individual expression. Giri is a symbol for social duty, or the need to carry out your responsibilities at all costs. These are strict social contracts that have the power to destroy people who can't fit in. They're more than just cultural preferences. This pressure is exemplified by the idea of tatami versus hane. Tatami is your public persona. It's what people expect you to say and do. Hane is your actual emotions, which need to be kept a secret in order to preserve wei. Living with this duality causes a great deal of psychological stress, particularly for people who have trouble meeting social expectations. The hikikomori phenomenon, which affects almost 1.5 million people, is the result of this cultural pressure. Those between the ages of 40 and 50 now have the highest concentration, which was first found in teenagers and young adults. Due to their inability or unwillingness to reintegrate into society, these people have been isolated for years, sometimes even decades. All relationships are defined by the senpai-kohai hierarchy system according to factors like position, age, or experience. It is against basic social order to challenge a senior, even if they have superior ideas. This inflexible framework inhibits creativity and keeps people in unhealthy situations from which they are unable to get out without looking foolish. Japan's educational culture puts pressure on students from an early age. Children compete fiercely for entrance exams to elementary school. Many people feel like failures if they stray from the recommended path of good school, good company, and good marriage because of the examination system's limited definition of success. Instead of addressing hikikomori, family dynamics frequently make it possible. Parents avoid the social stigma of asking for help because they feel guilty about their child's withdrawal and instead offer financial support. In the hopes that their estranged children can live off of savings rather than reintegrating into society, some leave inheritances of more than 10 million yen. Social isolation has gotten worse due to the collapse of traditional employment. Lifetime employment, which offered security and identity, was essential to Japan's economic miracle. This system broke down with the bubble economy in the 1990s, leaving many people without defined social roles or life trajectories. According to recent surveys, 36% of identified hikikomori have been isolated for more than 10 years, and 70% are over 40. As this population ages, new problems arise because parents pass away and there is no longer any financial support, leaving vulnerable people with sizable inheritances but no life skills. All age groups have experienced increased social isolation as a result of the COVID pandemic. Since loneliness is now recognized by government surveys as a public health emergency, new laws establishing formal guidelines for dealing with social isolation will be passed in 2024. Ironically, technology both facilitates and hinders hikikomori. Virtual reality therapy and online counseling are two new digital interventions that help people gradually reintegrate back into society, even though internet access permits total withdrawal from it. Some programs allow isolated people to practice social interactions in safe, supervised settings by using virtual reality. Japan's changing landscape and economics. Every element of daily life is impacted by Japan's economic transformation. In 2024, Japan finally met its 2% inflation target after 3 decades of stagnation and deflation. Although this sounds good, it means that prices are increasing more quickly than the incomes of many people. Germany recently overtook the nation as the nominal third largest economy in the world. Japan's GDP dropped from $5.5 trillion in 1995 to $4.2 trillion in 2023. Because of the weakening yen, many Japanese now have less purchasing power, making imports more expensive and international travel unaffordable. The highest percentage of public debt among developed countries is 254.6% of GDP. Government spending on social programs and infrastructure upgrades is constrained by this enormous debt load. In 2025, interest rates increased for the first time in 17 years, hitting 0.5%, but this puts additional strain on corporate borrowing and government finances. In vital industries, the labor shortage has gotten to crisis proportions. As the population ages, there is a severe shortage of workers in the construction, logistics, and healthcare industries. According to some projections, Japan will require 820,000 skilled foreign workers by 2029 in order to maintain essential services. The stock market hit all-time highs in 2024, and corporate profits have been at record highs for 5 years in a row. However, workers aren't benefiting from this wealth. Even though businesses report record profits, many workers' real wages have decreased as inflation has outpaced pay increases. In 2024, the tourism boom brought 36.87 million visitors, breaking pre-pandemic records. Although this influx boosts the economy, it also brings with it new difficulties. As businesses cater to wealthy tourists rather than locals, popular destinations suffer from over-tourism, and locals face challenges like crowding and rising costs. Innovation initiatives concentrate on using technology to address demographic challenges. Businesses spend a lot of money on AI and automation to replace lost employees. The development of robotics aims to improve manufacturing efficiency, care for the elderly, and service sectors that are facing a staffing shortage. Economic disparities between regions keep growing. Major cities like Tokyo draw opportunities and investment, while rural areas experience economic decline and population loss. Young people move to cities in search of employment, depriving older communities of economic vitality and necessary services. In contrast to other developed economies, the startup ecosystem is still in its infancy. Entrepreneurship is discouraged by complicated regulations and a risk-averse culture. Instead of vibrant new businesses, the majority of innovation takes place within existing corporations. Concerns about energy security have increased in the wake of world events. Japan is susceptible to global price swings and supply interruptions due to its reliance on energy imports. Because of geographical limitations and regulatory obstacles, the development of renewable energy is progressing slowly. The reality check of relocating to Japan. After everything I've said, if you're still thinking about relocating to Japan, here's what you really need to know. It takes years to develop deep cultural fluency, which is necessary for success in addition to language proficiency. Despite anti-discrimination laws, discrimination against foreigners in housing is still pervasive. Due to communication issues or cultural differences, many landlords flatly reject foreign tenants. Obtaining housing frequently necessitates extensive documentation, demonstrating financial stability and Japanese guarantors. There are immediate difficulties in banking. Significant documentation, employment verification, and frequently personal guarantees from Japanese nationals are required when opening accounts. Even after years of residency and steady income, credit cards and loans are still hard to come by. Enrolling in insurance is only one aspect of healthcare navigation. Mental health services are still stigmatized and underdeveloped in Japan, where medical culture places an emphasis on alternative treatment modalities. Knowing medical jargon and cultural norms has an impact on the standard of care you get. The requirements for legal documentation go well beyond travel visas. Complicated bureaucratic requirements are created by residence cards, municipal registration, tax obligations, and pension contributions. Errors may lead to future visa denials, fines, or deportation. In traditional Japanese companies, career advancement for foreigners usually encounters glass ceilings. Non-Japanese workers are frequently excluded from leadership roles because they require cultural ties and communication styles. Better opportunities are provided by tech companies and foreign businesses, but they are still scarce. the integration process takes a lot longer than most people anticipate. Meaningful professional and social integration takes at least 3 to 5 years, while basic survival may take 6 months. Unable to get past practical and cultural obstacles, many foreigners depart within 2 years. Choosing the appropriate industry, location, and strategy are all important success factors. The tourism, education, and technology sectors provide more welcoming environments for foreigners. Although they are more expensive, major cities offer more opportunities. Although costs are lower in rural areas, there are fewer job options and social isolation. For many anime fans, living in Japan is not the ideal. The harsh financial reality is that while costs are still high, foreigners earn 30% less. Beyond merely putting in long hours, workplace culture requires an understanding of intricate social norms. The psychological strain of preserving harmony is demonstrated by the nearly 1.5 million people who live in total social isolation. However, Japan offers unparalleled safety, innovation, and quality of life for those who come prepared for long-term commitment and who truly understand the culture. Realistic expectations and sincere regard for Japanese culture are necessary for success. Please hit the like button and subscribe for more unvarnished insights if this reality check helped you grasp the realities of living in Japan. What caught you off guard? Tell me in the comments section below.